had this idea of doing this, the whole post-game recap, like podcasts and everything like that, because you know why? I want to come on here and talk about my team. I know I talk about all 32 teams, but God, that's a tough pill to swallow today as the New England Patriots unfortunately lose 17-16. And like I said in my tweet earlier, I may be doing this solo. I may have some guests, but Nytmare 10 is with me because I remember I reached out to him and he said maybe, and then I got a, yeah, you know what, I need to talk. But we were going to do this. It's about, as I look at my Apple Watch, about 45 minutes removed from the last play. But Phil, how are you doing right now?
I'm better, as we just said before we got on here. I'm calmed down now. I think everybody, when the game's over, your emotions are high and it's an adrenaline rush, obviously. And not to mention, I was watching on a stream and the thing was like flawless for like 30 minutes, and then it would mess up and piss me off. So that didn't help either. But side note, NFL, get it together and make an option where I can pay and buy all my games. Anyways, that's just a side rant for a whole nother day. But anyways, no, I want to start off with the positives. I think that's a good way to start if you agree. Like, Mac Jones looked not only like did he do a lot? No, he didn't do a lot, but he looked the part. I think is the point number one. Number two, like he honestly amazed. Like he looked like it was just he looked like he was at Bama. Like he looked comfortable. Like it didn't look like he was in a pro, or like what I'm trying to say. He didn't look different. Like it didn't look like he was like, clearly having those rookie, like, oh God, somebody's coming after me, or oh, I got to get rid of it and throw an interception. Like he had a couple moments where you could tell he was rattled a little bit, maybe, which like any quarterback, that could be on any given Sunday. But I just loved what I saw from Mac. I will say it's very clear, and this is gonna sound like I'm making excuses, but looking back, watching the game, like it is very clear that this is a learning process for the offense. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with Mac looking. I agree with the parts where Mac looked good. He didn't the one thing I liked was that he didn't look distressed or do that thing that Cam did last year where Cam would freeze under pressure. There were a couple blitzes that Miami threw at us that he got out of it and managed to make plays happen. There were some moments there where, you know what, yeah, there are. I said this, I've been saying this all offseason, and also more or less have been kind of honing in on it once he got named starter last week, that there were going to be rookie growing pains like there are for every team. But there's a lot of potential here with him. I don't think there's so many learning curves with the offense. That's more the defense, in my opinion, because there are some moments where they just, Jesus Christ, Miami caught us on so many slant routes.
Yeah, and it's going to remain to be seen. I think this is one of those things where you kind of have you don't know what a glaring problem is until you see it for 3 or 4 weeks, right? So obviously we're missing Gilmore on defense, but I like the way the defense answered. Let's be honest too, though. Let's give credit where it's due, and Big Rat will like this. Waddle is amazing. I say amazing is going a little too high.
He's going to be a problem.
But he's a problem, and Parker's a problem. And the fact that I didn't even realize this till the end of the game, I didn't think he got any. But I want to butcher his name, but the tight end didn't get a single catch. Say it again.
Gesicki,
yeah. So Gesicki got 0 catches. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah,
no, he did. He wasn't really that utilized till that late in the game. But
I'm not even sure if he was targeted. To be honest, that would be something I have to look at. But yeah, so that team, and not to mention, I can't remember the other guy's name off the top of my head. Maybe you can, but they're missing 2 guys. I know they're missing Will Fuller. He'll be coming. Obviously, is a new addition, so they're not really missing him in a sense. They just don't have him yet. And then there's another guy they mentioned that and when they said, I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't see him on the field either, but I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But what I'm saying is, I'm giving the props to and Tua is an athlete. Now Tua. There was times I saw Tua, and I'm like, this is the Tua that everybody's worried about because there's some, decision-making plays. And I will say this, since we're going to dive into New England, a lot of overanalyze different things in New England. I will say about Miami, if I'm a Miami fan, I hate the stuff with Jacoby Brissett. That would piss me the hell off. I get it. He's a bigger guy. I get it for the short down stuff, but it just doesn't, there's just no point in it. Run with your quarterback. and roll with it. Like, yeah, he didn't throw the ball, but I don't know. That's just something that bothered me. Maybe it doesn't bother Miami fans and I'm the only one, but I would hate that as a Patriots fan. Let's put it that way, for my team, anyways.
I get why Miami was doing that, because Jacoby Brissett obviously much big. He's a taller quarterback where you have those 3-and-1s look, where Tua is a little bit of a shorter guy. You need someone who's going to be able to lunge and extend their body to where, hey, you know what? He's going to be able to go in there, kind of like, you know how you always see in mob movies how like the mob boss never gets his hands dirty. It's always like the guys below him that are doing the hits.
Right.
It's kind of like that, where it's like the big boss doesn't get his hands dirty. Those are the plays where you kind of got to get your hands dirty. So they're still kind of protecting Tua. I'm like with you. I feel like at the same time too, you have to throw him in there to fully give him that confidence that he can do that. But at the same time too, I completely understand why Miami was throwing Brissett out for those plays.
And look, it worked. So who am I to say anything? So screw what I have to say. But it just bothers me personally. I just don't think it's something. I think it's a momentum thing. But I mean, if it's just for 3rd-and-1 and 3rd and inches, then okay, fine. I guess that makes sense. Like whatever. But like, I don't know. That's something I was going to throw out there. But yeah, I think to get back to the Pats, like, I think what I meant more about the offense, like, yeah, growing pains with Mac Jones, but I think I saw better formations towards the end of the game. Like, it felt like the playbook kind of got opened up a lot more towards the second half of the game. Bourne, we didn't even see him, and like if we saw him in the first half, it was very minimal. I don't remember seeing him in the first half. Then Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith weren't on the field a lot together in the first half. Hunter Henry, when he was on the field, looked like a beast. Like, I know it was very short times we got him, but so maybe they're just trying to maybe he's still learning the offense. Whatever. I don't know what the answer is. So I think that's going to mold is what I'm getting at as far as the learning the offense, and the offense like still learning its like finding its role per se.
No, I completely understand. Like the tight ends had good games today. Like when they were noticeable, like they made basically when their name was called upon, they made the plays that were necessary. But for when it comes to receivers and everything, and like the whole offense besides Mac, my 2 favorite players today were Damian Harris and Nelson Aguilar. Nelson Aguilar had a lot of key catches, including that one absolute dime. He had the touchdown. Just trying to think of what else he had. Yeah, so he had the touchdown, the only touchdown of the game for us, unfortunately. And he had a couple other just key plays and stuff. But no, those 2 guys really stood out. I don't think that drop's going to cost Damian Harris his job. Will he be used a lot less next week? Yes, I can see that. But I can't see him being put into that doghouse that Bill's infamously known for. I can see Ramondre Stevenson maybe not playing next week though, because he was a guy that really didn't notice well. Maybe they kind of flush things in and get J.J. Taylor going. Like even we saw James White being James White today, Jacoby Myers being Myers. The only guys who didn't really get their name called were, I feel like, N'Keal Harry. Besides that, anyone that was on offense that was starting pretty much got their name called. Like
N'Keal Harry's on IR though. Don't forget about that.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. My bad.
But yeah, so one, I would say this. Look, I was pissed, livid at Harris because it's just you can't make mistakes like that. But going forward, like he's a big part of that offense. He did a lot. He was a big part of production today. So I hope he doesn't go in the doghouse because I think that would be. I don't think Bill's that dumb. Now Stevenson, I saw a lot of rookies like not ready for the NFL stuff from him, like some blocking stuff he was not good at, like let a guy right by him. So I'm not sure about Stevenson, but he's still young, he's a rookie, and welcome to the big leagues kind of thing with him. But no, as far as receivers, you were right on point with Nelson Aguilar. I think he played well. Jacoby Myers was what I thought he would be. You didn't see much of Gunner. You saw a little bit of him. I want to say towards the end of the game. He didn't really get a pass or anything, but he was on the field. But I like the tight end formation. I really every time they were both on the field, I just felt like you had them two. Then you also had receivers. Like when I saw Mac back in the shotgun, and you have Jonnu and you have Hunter Henry and you have the receivers Bourne, Aguilar, and even Myers, whoever the matchups were, like that. I was like, that's when I would salivate. Like that's the offense that I think can win us football games. Obviously, you're going to run the ball, and Harris did great for that outside of his fumble, which, like I said, I was livid about, rightfully so. But I think the offense, I like I said, I want to be optimistic before I'm pessimistic. And now that I'm calmed down and stuff, I can kind of have that. I think the offense looks loads better. People saying that Cam would have won that game are idiots. I don't get that. I don't see. And I'm a big Cam supporter. I just don't see Cam doesn't make that throw to James White.
No, and also my thing with Cam, with the whole, like, I don't like that whole, it's like, oh, Cam would have done this, Cam this. No, Cam's not here. We can't do that. Like, I even was doing that with, well, you know her, Jessica, after the game, but the whole, I was saying all these what ifs, and then I'm like, you know what? They're what ifs. Like, it's the biggest thing in sports that I hate to do. We all do them as sports fans, no matter what sport we're watching. But the what ifs are the what ifs for a reason. You just got to move on to the next one, and get ready for the Jets next Sunday. Because I know, like, I'll let you go on, but yeah.
No, I was just saying, like, and don't, like, this is easy to say after we lose, right? But had we won that game, let's just say we win at 19-17, I would have said exactly what I'm about to say. Miami's not a pushover team. One, they're a division rival, but that team is good. Like, maybe their defense, like, but they only allowed 16 points. I mean, rookie quarterback, you can make a lot of excuses for that, but I thought the defense kept them in the game. They got turnovers. So I don't think Miami's just going to run out. Now, maybe next week they make me look like fools, but I think Miami's here to stay. Like, I think Miami is going to be, like Big Rat mentioned it on Twitter when I congratulated him on the win. Like, this is going to be a dogfight for this division. Bills losing today, I mean, it's still early. It's week 1. You can't overreact. That's what I'm getting at, too.
That's the part of week 1, though, is the overreactions.
You can't overreact to week 1. Like, I mean, Rodgers is out the door again. Like, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that I'm sure, like, on a full show we'll talk about. But, like, that, you know, like, that's I just want to make sure that, you know, we don't overreact. You know, that's, like, it's easy to overreact right at the game. You get it off. Like, I mean, even you saw my messages to you. We're pretty much high level pissed off, Phil. But yeah, like, I mean, I think that Miami is a good team. The biggest thing I know, or the biggest thing that does hurt from seeing that, is that, you know, Miami, that win could matter a lot in the end. So that's the only frustrating part.
No, 100%. That's like that. I agree with you. That's the one frustrating part, because we don't know what Miami, or we know what Miami is now. Like, a lot, I can go in a lot of year. I think a lot of those questions with, hey, like, if Miami has a bad year, are they still going to trade for Deshaun Watson? I think this honestly answered that. Look, Tua can be your guy. Mac is the guy. Josh Allen is the guy in Buffalo. This is a 3-team race. Like, I'm not, like, I know they're our next opponent. I'm not going to start pushing any, like, shade towards the Jets or anything. It's just, I still think the Jets are a few years away. This is a 3-team race for the AFC East, as far as I'm concerned. That may be a week 1 overreaction, but you know what? For now, that is a statement I'm going to make, because, look, the Bills did not look good today. When they had a chance to go down the field and win the game, they made some costly mistakes. They just looked flustered. Like, Pittsburgh caught them off guard. Like, those were one of those wins where week 1, where you pick the underdog and you get upset. I personally, like I said today, I posted this on my Instagram and I posted this on my TikTok. So follow me there, guys. I'm going to start posting it more on my personal Instagram, because I think the YWC Football Talk Instagram has been very inactive for a while. So I think I'll stop. I think I may delete that account entirely. But the big thing with me is I put Bills money line. I thought Bills were going to win that game, and they disappointed me. The Bills lost that game. There's a lot more not disappointing, but there's a lot more shocking results today. But I'm going to talk about that more tomorrow night with Tommy Stout, which I assume we'll do a lot of Bears talk. But at the same time, too, that's nor here or there. What's here and now is the Patriots. And my biggest concern was the fact that, look, this secondary was void of a Gamecock. He's unfortunately on the 6-game pup list. But you know what? Man, their defense, like, they made plays when they had to, but there was a lot of times where I'm like, guys, you can't do that. They faked us a lot. Like, the Jets are going to look at this, and they can use Zach Wilson into similar schemes that they use Tua in. So I'm just looking ahead to next week to where I look at it and go, what exactly are the Patriots going to do to get ready for the Jets? Because for as much as I could say, yeah, you know what, we're going to come out here and kill the Jets like 31-3, for all we know, we're in another dogfight with the Jets, because it's AFC East football for years. Even when Brady was here and we were the kings of the division, we were in a lot of dogfights with all 3 of those teams. And that's when they were bad. Now, Buffalo, Miami, and New England, I can all say are good football teams.
Yeah, and I don't think, honestly, like, this is easy to say after week 1, right? Like, this isn't, I'm not trying to make this, who knows what this, like, I'm not saying that this isn't possible. But I think this team right now, early on in the season, we're not blowing anybody out. That's just not what's going to happen right now.
No.
I didn't expect to blow Miami. I knew it was going to be a dogfight. Like, I thought we'd score more points. Like, I'll say that. Like, but I thought it'd be more of a point battle. But both defenses played well on top of the offenses, not, you know, struggling a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, I think the Jets game. Like, I'm not that's a must win. We got to win that game. I say a must win. Like obviously, you could lose and still, go on a tear. But I'm just like, you got to win. You got to get that win, a road win for Mac. Bring it back home to face New Orleans. I'm pretty sure we play at home against New Orleans. So yeah, and then you got. I mean, it's now granted week 1 overreactions. It's just all like this is kind of just come back to the past. But Jameis balled out today. Is that more on the Packers or more on the Saints, or is it just a little bit of both? We won't know. But we'll see the Saints, not looking ahead, but we'll see them week 3. So it's like then we got the Bucs week 4. So it's like we got to be, you have time to grow, but you also you can't drop another one to the you can't drop what I'm getting at. You can't drop week 2 to the Jets and then expect to go and beat New Orleans and beat Tampa Bay. Like that's going to be a tough road to do that. So I mean, another thing too. The offensive line, man. The offensive line's got to get healthy because there were some times today Mac Jones. That's what amazed me about Mac Jones is he made some plays when he should have been sacked. So, but yeah, the offensive line got to get it together because I mean that's one thing I praise going into into this regular season is that Mac Jones might be behind one of the better lines for the rookie quarterbacks, but at times it didn't look that way. But like back and forth, good stuff. I mean, defensive line had moments, more moments towards the end. I mean, the defense set the offense up, and the offense, coughed it up. So,
I get that completely. Like, I would say if there was a weak point for both teams today, where the positions evenly weren't that good, it was both offensive lines. Both offensive lines had moments where they looked strong with their quarterback and do this thing, but there was also moments too where the offensive lines broke down, committed, well, more or less Miami, like Liam Eichenberg looked a little green out there today, where he had some moments where he had a holding call, and I think he had another penalty, but they were letting pressure get around. There was that one play where Tua threw the interception where Josh Uche just completely, I saw this on Twitter, and I'm going to re-say it, gored, like he basically went full rhino on Tua.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even to, the John Jones interception, it's just one of those. If this is one of those games where I'm not mad about the outcome. I'm just more disappointed. It's more like you had it and then you got snatched. You had the chance to go downfield and win, but then it was just so I'll use the word deflating. I know it's a word a lot of people like to use to make fun of Pats fans, but it's a word I'm going to use right now because that's a deflating loss. But at the same time, you're right. You know what? We got to just put this behind us, not worry about it. Focus up and get ready for the New York Jets next week because for all we know, we could be in another 20-17 kind of game with the New York Jets. Because I know the Jets looked kind of iffy at first against the Carolina Panthers, but they managed to kind of scratch and claw their way back and only lose by 5 as opposed to, I think they were down 19-6 at one point or 19-0.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about the Jets is they don't have, and Danny may not like me saying this, but it's true. The Jets receivers are not Miami's receivers. I think that's just so I think that's the one shining light I like to see because Zach Wilson is going to make plays where where there shouldn't be plays. Anybody that's mobile like that. Same thing with Tua. He did that a lot today. But these guys getting open. Will the Jets be able to do that? I'm not sure. I don't think I think that'll be the test for that game. But that's for next week. There's more on this week right now, but like you said, you said disappointed. My word would just be ultimately I started off pissed and then I kind of came down to earth and I'm more frustrated than anything because we shouldn't be giving games away like that. And I'm not taking anything away from Miami. I've praised them in this little bit of time we've been on here. So I'm not taking anything away from them as a talented football team, but when you have the game right there, obviously nothing's guaranteed, but I mean that's clear with the fumble, but you can't make mistakes like that. That's not Patriots football, and you just can't make mistakes like that. So, but if you score more, I mean, there's so many things you can look at too on the other end. If you score more, you're not in that situation. So, there's a lot of that, and I think Mac Jones put that on his shoulders. I watched some of the press conference before he got on here, and he put that on his shoulders too. He's like, look, there was some definitely, he never pointed at the running backs. He never pointed at anything else. He said, look, there was times I should have got the ball quicker and things like that. So I love what I saw from Mac. I mean, that's the biggest positive out of this. I think Mac's great. If you can build around him and the team offense can continue to get better, then we're the defense is only going to get better when Gilmore comes back too. So.
Oh, 100%. It's just my big thing is like, look, I like the fact that he took the loss on the chin. I don't like the fact that it's like the whole like excuses making. The fact that he just knows, look, hey, I should have been better. I should have played a couple more possessions better. If he had made a couple more throws here or there, we could have won. But at the same time, too, you know what? It is what it is. Like, I feel like I know you said you were mad. I was more just like it was like the Bills game, which also ended in a fumble, unfortunately, last year, where you were like, look, we could have had victory. Then now, because I'm not saying this is a loss where you miss the playoffs because of it, but if we were to miss the playoffs, it could be one of those things where people are going to go, oh, but what if they had beaten Miami week 1? Because remember now, we don't see Miami again until week 18. That's a new thing this year, folks. But you know what? There's a very good chance that game is for the division. That game is for winner goes home, or like, excuse me, like winner goes to the wild card, loser is eliminated. Like that game could have a lot of stakes on it, but I'm with you in the sense the Jets game I don't see as a must win, but if we were to lose that game, there's going to be some questions I need answering if we do lose that game, and that is kind of scary to think about in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's all we have to say, really, folks. You know what? Just we want to keep these short and sweet. We don't want to go over too long because I know we could talk about it all day. But you know what? We just got to cover the main bullet points. I felt like we did that today. Another YWC football talk in the books, episode 107. Join me tomorrow night for a little Tommy Stout week 1 recap, and then the first of 3 Big Rat, Griff, Daniel Jones primetime YWC football talks this coming Thursday as we predict week 2 ahead. I'm also going to go more in on the Miami side with Big Rat, which I am looking forward to just to get his perspective on the game because now we can get both fan bases' opinions. But Phil, you know what? I hated doing this last year when I had to play therapist after a Pats loss where you're just like, oh my God. But at the same time, too, you know what? It is what it is. It's a new season, and I'm just glad that we had football back. Because let's be honest, for as bad as our loss was, it could have been a lot worse. Like there's other teams out there who truly had bad days.
Yeah, no, I agree. But we on to New York, as we say.
Yeah, you know what? We're on to the Jets. Good night, everybody.